So I'm not going to lie, when I see all this stuff right now, I'm like, oh, I don't even want to do any of this, but I'm going to get through it one step at a time.
If you're someone like me who feels anxious or overwhelmed at the thought of decluttering any part of your house, I feel your pain. I'm Shevy, and in this video, I'll be sharing 4 simple ways I reduce my anxiety by shifting my attitude.
If you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed about the thought of decluttering, then my first tip would be to take it one baby step at a time. It gets really hard and difficult to find things when things accumulate, and I find that things accumulate a lot. I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff. And the more stuff we have, I don't know about you, but the more cluttered I feel, the more claustrophobic I feel, the more like I can't breathe sometimes because there's just so much stuff in comparison to just wide open spaces or just organized or things that I can just find really quickly. It just makes my life a lot easier. You don't have to do everything all at once. In order to keep it simple, I just have to take a deep breath, and I encourage you to do the same. Take a deep breath and just look at one piece of what we can do just for today. Instead of just looking at the big things, like all the stuff I have to do, what I do is just break it down into little tiny steps. So for today, for example, I'm just putting my winter clothes out, packing up some of my summer clothes and seeing what I need to get rid of that no longer serves me. And that's all I'm doing today. I could go and look at my kids' room that's a little cluttery, my husband who's a little cluttery, and sometimes that's a little overwhelming too. That's another tip that's coming up. So one of the first things I have to do is let go of some of the control in my household. Like, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I live with my dear husband, Mark, and my 2 teens. And when they were younger, I used to declutter their rooms all of the time and be super, super organized. I am an organized person in general. However, like, it was so much easier when they were little because I could just go into their rooms and just declutter. I would usually have charity bag marked for that, garbage bag, and things we would keep. And I would usually organize the room so well that they'd just be amazed because my kids, like, they were clutter bugs just even from the beginning. So it was really easy. But now that they're teens, I find that it's harder. I go in there to their room sometimes and try to declutter it, and it just gets to be a mess after all of that. And I just found that it was getting me super, super anxious and overwhelmed, right? Because I'm trying to control their behaviors. And while I do give guidelines to my teens, I do all of those things, sometimes it's just about accepting that there's only so much control I have, and what are the things that are important, and what do I have to let go for my own well-being. So these days I find that sometimes I have to shut the door with my teens just to kind of keep my calm. And then I just concentrate on my decluttering, just little parts at a time. And usually when I set that example of decluttering my own closet, sometimes they follow suit actually, and they actually declutter their own. When it comes to decluttering, I know that some of us have some challenges with letting go of sentimental things. We feel we need to keep these things because what if we need them at another time? That is very real. The other thing that I find too with decluttering, not so much with the sentimentality piece, but the feelings of overwhelm and feeling scattered because there's just so much to do. And when we feel scattered, we can often feel anxious. And sometimes for some of us, that means I just don't want to do it, so I'm just not going to do it. But again, how do we get through feeling anxious and just doing what we need to do? Somebody once gave me really good advice, and I use it. I give this advice to others too. It is focus on where your hands are. So that means, just to be mindful of one step at a time. I can just focus on this bin. It's okay. I don't have to think about all of the stuff back there, all of the stuff in my drawers. I'm just focusing today on right now, in this moment, where my hands are, and that's this tub of winter clothes. And we're just going to get through this tub. I don't know if you have a tub or if you even have like a little bin, or if you have, it doesn't matter. Just focus on what you can do and take deep breaths.
So here's one more piece of advice. This is a book I bought off of Amazon that really helped with my anxiety, especially when it came to accepting some of the clutter in my own home that I have no control over. It's Beth Kempton's Wabi Sabi, Japanese Wisdom for a Perfectly Imperfect Life. As you can see, it's been well used and is helping me to find some of the beauty in a perfectly imperfect home. I highly recommend it, and it also makes a good holiday gift. I've left the link to the book in the description below. So there you have it. 4 simple attitudes to reduce your anxiety when you declutter. Remember, you don't have to do it all at once. Let go of the things you can't control at home for your own good. Focus on where your hands are to stay focused. And read Wabi Sabi and similar books to reduce the desire to be perfect. I invite you to leave a comment about some of the strategies you use to reduce anxiety when decluttering. See you at the next video.